Now, please.
Yeah, I don't. It's very lovely to be.
Why does Carrie Bradshaw continue to spark so much debate? Sarah Jessica Parker has a lot to say, and she's not staying silent. On the Call Her Daddy podcast, the Sex and the City icon passionately defends her character, acknowledging the flaws while celebrating the strength, loyalty, and depth Carrie brought to the screen. From the infamous big romance to those questionable financial choices, Parker offers a raw and honest perspective. If you've ever loved, hated, or judged Carrie, this one's for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more bold celebrity insights and pop culture deep dives. For over 2 decades, Carrie Bradshaw has captured the hearts and stirred the frustrations of fans across the globe. Whether she was running through Manhattan in Manolos, chain-smoking her way through heartbreak, or typing out columns about love on her MacBook sex and the city's iconic heroine always drew strong opinions. And now, Sarah Jessica Parker is speaking out in defense of the character that defined her career. Appearing on the June 18th episode of the Call Her Daddy podcast, Parker reflected on the years-long conversation surrounding Carrie and why she continues to garner criticism. As the actress behind the beloved writer-turned-podcaster, Parker knows the character intimately, and yet she can't help but wonder, why is Carrie held to such a different standard? There's a sentiment that she's frustrated, or she's selfish, or she makes poor decisions, or she doesn't manage her money. Parker told host Alex Cooper, all of that has been true over the course of the last 25 years. She acknowledged the validity of those critiques, but quickly followed up with a bigger truth. She's also hugely loyal, decent, reliable, a really good friend, generous, available, present, comforting, giving of herself in big and small ways that are private and public to her and among her friends. It's a defense rooted not in denial, but in dimension. Carrie Bradshaw is not a perfect woman, and that's exactly why Parker loves her. After all, in the landscape of early 2000s television, Carrie was one of the first female characters to unapologetically be messy, complicated, and unfiltered. She was flawed, yes, but she was also real. Over the years, fans and critics alike have dissected Carrie's many missteps, her often impractical spending habits, her lack of emotional maturity in relationships, her self-centered tendencies, especially when it came to the lives of her 3 best friends, Miranda, Cynthia Nixon, Charlotte, Kristen Davis, and Samantha, Kim Cattrall, all became fodder for online debates and memes. But Parker insists there's more to her character than those viral criticisms suggest. If I were watching her and if I were her friend, Parker admitted candidly, and I would see a misstep or see her keep repeating something, however she was choosing to deal with Big, I'm sure I would feel frustration. She didn't excuse Carrie's poor choices, particularly the ones involving her on-again, off-again relationship with Mr. Big, Chris Noth, a relationship that was as romantic as it was maddening. I get it, she said, but walking in Carrie's heels since 1998 has afforded Parker a kind of insight that no outside observer could fully claim. I want all of it, she declared. That includes the chaotic decisions, the heartbreaks, the fashion mishaps, and the emotional contradictions. I was very happy that they were writing her that way, she added, referring to the show's original writers and those behind the sequel series, and just like that nuance, Parker argued, is often stripped away when Carrie is criticized, especially compared to her male TV counterparts. One of the examples she pointed to was Tony Soprano, played by James Gandolfini in HBO's The Sopranos. Tony, a mob boss with blood on his hands and a therapist on speed dial, was praised for being deeply flawed, yet rarely faced the same level of personal scrutiny that Carrie did for simply being human. There was more criticism about Carrie having an affair with a married man, Parker noted, referencing Big's marriage to Natasha, Bridget Moynihan, in season 2. It's a fair point. While Tony Soprano murdered and manipulated his way through 6 seasons and was hailed as a brilliant character study, Carrie was torn apart for cheating and for being occasionally narcissistic. The difference? Gender, Parker suggests. Indeed, the double standard in how male versus female characters are critiqued is glaring. Carrie's flaws, rooted in emotion, insecurity, and desire, are all too familiar to real-life women, yet when those flaws are portrayed on screen, they're too often met with judgment instead of empathy. Parker's defense isn't just about Carrie Bradshaw, it's about allowing female characters to be messy, to evolve, and to exist in shades of gray without being labeled bad role models. Still, despite all the noise, Parker continues to feel affection and respect for the woman she brought to life. I admired that she was scrappy. She was a little survivor, she said. And that survival wasn't just about enduring romantic letdowns or career challenges. It was about navigating a life in which she was always trying to define her own rules, even when they didn't make sense to anyone else. In today's era of moral scrutiny and cancel culture, Parker's defense of Carrie also serves as a reminder of the power of storytelling. Characters aren't meant to be perfect. They're meant to provoke, challenge, and reflect aspects of ourselves we might not want to admit. Carrie Bradshaw was never a blueprint for how to live. It's what made her authentic. I prefer that she wasn't always making smart choices, Parker confessed, or that she was falling short of being the best friend or the best girlfriend or her best self. For Parker, those imperfections were never a failure. They were the very essence of who Carrie was, and by extension, they're the reason Sex and the City still resonates with audiences more than 2 decades later. So yes, Carrie Bradshaw fell in and out of love. She made some questionable purchases. Hello, shoes over savings. She sometimes let herself get lost in her own world. But she also loved her friends fiercely, believed in romance even when it hurt, and kept showing up for her life, even when it didn't turn out as planned. And through it all, Sarah Jessica Parker stayed right there with her, not as a blind defender, but as a devoted advocate for the complicated woman she portrayed. In her own words, "I want all of it." In a cultural moment that often demands black and white answers, Parker's nuanced perspective is refreshing. Carrie Bradshaw may not be everyone's favorite, but she remains one of TV's most important and enduring characters. And thanks to Sarah Jessica Parker, her story is far from over. Love her or hate her, Carrie Bradshaw remains one of TV's most talked about characters, and Sarah Jessica Parker wouldn't have it any other way. From loyalty to flaws, she embraces it all. What do you think? Was Carrie misunderstood or just messy? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more honest takes on your favorite stars and shows.